I want to talk this morning about compressing the ball, hitting it properly. When you feel that you have compressed the ball, you've done two things the right way. One is that you've struck the ball in the middle or very, very close to the middle of the club face. The second is that when your club meets the ball on the ground, it meets it correctly with a slight descending blow. So when you get those two things right, even if the ball doesn't go exactly where you want it to, the feeling is good, that breeds confidence, and it's more likely to allow you to then hit shots that do go towards your target, and do it more often too. The big thing that most people will ask for in a lesson is they're seeking consistency. And there's nothing that will give you the feeling of consistency more than striking the ball well the majority of the time. And it's more consistency of strike rather than anything else that most players are after. When you are learning an aspect of the game, usually you're trying to change something or improve something or upgrade something. In other words, it's not going to be the same, and you've got to learn a different movement pattern or a different feel or something like that. So what I want to do this morning is look at one drill that you can do to help you get better center face contact, to make a massive difference to the way you feel about the strike of the shots and where you go. The first thing I'll say is that when you make a full swing motion, you are always naturally going to default to your learned pattern. So when you're doing a lot of the drill that I'm about to show you, or drills I'm about to show you, you need to do them with very small swings because you're looking to establish a different pattern. It's not like you're trying to adjust the pattern that you've got, even though that does happen. Your feeling is that I'm actually looking to try and create something that's new. So when I'm playing a little shot, let's say my contact is somewhere out normally toward the toe or toward the heel, then when I play my shot, I want to get it more centered. So the first thing I'm going to do is make very small swings. So with this small swing, as we'll see from the camera behind, I'm only looking to hit the ball maybe 20 meters or so, to try and give me the feeling of striking the ball in the middle of the club face. That one was in the middle of the club face. Now, one drill that we can do is to, with a piece of chalk, is draw a circle on the ball, place it on the ground, and then strike it. And once you have that sensation that you've just hit that shot and it's come pretty close to the middle of the club face, that was with a full swing, of course, but we can bring that shot back to its smallest component. So the smallest component, I just grabbed a couple of extra balls here, that smallest component can be a swing that only goes back and through about this far. So on if you imagine a clock face here, and this is 9 o'clock here, 3 o'clock here, what I'm looking to do is swing it from 8 to 4, maybe 7 to 5, to try and find that middle of the club face. And then what I want to do, once I've got that, is to start to increase the range of the motion and the speed of the motion. So let's say I'm making that little 7 to 5 swing. I'm looking also at the things that might detract from my ability to hit the ball out of the middle of the club face. So typically, as I swing back, or even before I swing back, tension is created in my hands and arms. So as I start back, there's movement with my hands and the club. So the movement's not smooth going back. So all of a sudden I've got to make compensatory moves during the swing to help me to get the club back to the ball squarely. So when I'm playing the shots, and if I start to notice movements as I'm going back that might detract from that movement, then that's my first point of intervention. So even though I'm still thinking about how does my club meet the ball on the ground and do I get the middle of the club face to meet the ball, I'm doing it with very little pressure, very little tension, and the movement is really quite smooth back and through. The next thing that really detracts a lot from this ability to strike the ball correctly, I'm mentioning the word compression, but it's really just a good strike, is unnecessary use of my hands. And now I can look at what's happening at impact that might be influencing that. So as the club swings down and through, do I notice that I'm using my hands a lot? And if we go back to that, say, 8 to 4 swing, if I'm making that little 8 to 4 swing, do I find that I can't stop at 4 o'clock and the club just keeps on going? If it does, and this is really common, there's a lot of activation with my hands during the swing. So rather than just keeping my hands and wrists quite passive, they're quite active during the swing. Using your hands or having your hands as a monitor to feel what's going on during the swing is going to happen anyway, even if you feel like they're quite soft. And in fact, you're more likely to get more feel from your hands the softer they are. So when that club swings through, if you find that you can't stop at that 4 o'clock position, the club keeps on going, practice it until you can keep the hands very passive so that when they do swing through, they're going to stop at the right point. And it might be that you need to really wind back the speed of the swing, the length of the swing in order to do that, and then hit a lot of little shots and then slowly build the range a little bit and then slowly build the speed. But when you build the speed, build it back without using the hands to try and get that speed. So one more little shot, just from 8 to 4, very, very simple, back and through. And that is such a basic little shot. If you've got a bucket of range balls that you've paid for, you may feel like, well, I want to get my money's worth and belt them all away. It's not going to be the most value for your golf swing. So when I'm practicing or before a round of golf, I'm going to hit a lot of these little shots just to warm up, because I'm warming up the mobility of my body, even though I've already done some exercise to help to develop that. I'm developing the rhythm of my swing, and I'm also getting a feel for the correct sequence of the motion. And if you try that too, with lots of little shots, intersperse them with your full swing shots as well, you'll find that you'll get the benefit of more centered strikes and getting that club to meet the ball on the ground correctly. In other words, compressing the ball properly.